A founding OPEC member just quit, and it could reshape global oil forever. In April 2024, the UAE made a stunning announcement. After 57 years as a founding member, it was leaving OPEC effective May 1st. This wasn't just a business decision. It was a seismic rupture in one of history's most powerful cartels. The organization that had shaped global oil markets since 1967 was now fractured by one of its own architects. The UAE's exit signaled something bigger than one country's frustration. It revealed that OPEC iron grip was slipping, and the cartel's oldest rules were finally breaking under the weight of modern economic pressures and competing national interests. Here's where the real tension started. OPEC doesn't just sit around and chat about oil, it enforces production quotas on every member. These caps exist to keep prices high by preventing oversupply. Sounds logical, right? Except the UAE had a problem. It was growing faster than its quota allowed. Think of it like this. Imagine you own a factory that can produce 10,000 units a day, but the industry cartel says you're only allowed to make 6,000. You're leaving money on the table. That's exactly what happened to the Emirates. They invested billions in infrastructure, upgraded their drilling capacity, and developed new oil fields. By 2023, they could pump significantly more oil than OPEC permitted. Their allocation was roughly 3 million barrels per day, but the UAE argued it had the infrastructure to produce much more, potentially 4 million or beyond. When they asked OPEC to raise their quota, the cartel basically said no. The organization worried that if everyone increased production, prices would crash. But from Abu Dhabi's perspective, that was OPEC prioritizing collective stability over individual profit. The UAE had invested the capital, built the capacity, and now couldn't use it. After decades of playing by cartel rules, they decided the restriction wasn't worth it anymore. Here's where this gets dangerous for OPEC. The moment the UAE walked out, the cartel lost something it can never get back, the illusion of unity. For decades, OPEC's real power wasn't just the oil itself. It was the ability to speak with one voice and control global supply. Once one founding member leaves, suddenly every other dissatisfied member starts doing the math. Iraq has been quietly frustrated for years. They've got massive untapped reserves, but their OPEC quota keeps them capped. Nigeria is in the same boat, production capacity sitting idle while the cartel says no. These aren't marginal players either. Iraq alone could pump an extra 1 million barrels a day if it wasn't constrained. Nigeria could do nearly as much. When you're sitting on that much potential revenue and watching the UAE successfully exit without facing serious consequences, the incentive to stay becomes a lot weaker. What OPEC feared most is contagion, and the UAE just lit the fuse. Once 2 or 3 more members follow, OPEC stops being a cartel that controls prices and becomes just a group chat where people announce what they're doing anyway. The organization's leverage collapses not with a bang but with a series of exits, each one making the next one easier. Now here's where it gets dangerous for OPEC. The cartel's entire power comes from one thing: the ability to control how much oil flows to the world. When the UAE leaves, that control cracks. The organization suddenly can't guarantee its members will actually stick to their quotas. If Iraq or Nigeria see the UAE walked away and faced no real consequences, why wouldn't they do the same? OPEC could splinter into competing independent producers all trying to maximize output simultaneously. That's a nightmare scenario for price stability. When supply floods the market unchecked, oil prices can swing wildly, sometimes crashing, sometimes spiking. Refineries and energy companies hate that unpredictability. They need to plan years in advance. But there's another angle. OPEC might actually restructure to stay relevant. They could loosen quotas, accept higher production levels from members, or create a looser coalition where countries have more flexibility. The old rigid cartel model is dying. What emerges next could be messier, more competitive, and ultimately better for consumers, or it could trigger price chaos that destabilizes energy markets worldwide. So, here's what the UAE's exit really means. When a founding member walks away after 57 years, you're not looking at a temporary dispute, you're watching the entire model collapse. OPEC built its power on unity and control, But if countries can't grow their businesses inside the cartel, they'll leave it. The future of oil isn't controlled by committees in Vienna anymore. It's controlled by whoever can pump the most, fastest, and cheapest. The cartel era is over.